hospital, besides her home visits and extra duties. "Dr. Guild, excuse me, but may I say something?"
"I doubt it has any relevance to my decision."
Frieda forged ahead. "You may not be aware, but I have spent a lot of time with Lillian Wald, working with her in her clinic. I believe this experience will help me in my chosen field. Miss Wald has given me a glowing reference." She knew she was taking a risk. Not all doctors believed in the work Lillian Wald was doing, but the results spoke for themselves.
"Wald is a good example for you, Miss Klunsberg."
For the first time since she'd walked into his domain, her hopes rose.
"She made the correct decision to give up becoming a doctor. She quit medical school back before the turn of the century. I believe she serves some purpose as a nurse."
Frieda had to fight to keep her temper in check. To hear Lillian's achievements dismissed so casually after everything the woman had done for the poor of New York. "Excuse me for saying so, Dr. Guild, but many believe Lillian has made significant progress. For example, the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company now offers a nursing service to all its policyholders." Dr. Guild held her gaze.
"Perhaps she can find you a job as a nurse."
Frieda scrunched her hands into fists. This wasn't fair. "With respect, Dr. Guild, I don't wish to be a nurse or a midwife. I intend to qualify as a doctor. I may not have scored as high as some on the last test, but I was far from the bottom of my class." He yawned as she spoke. She wasn't getting anywhere. What did Lily say all the time? You catch more flies with honey than vinegar. She forced herself to act more demure, as she supposed he expected women to be. "Dr. Guild, may I please ask you something else?" At her request, his eyes widened. At least she had surprised him. "Will you stop me from qualifying as a doctor?" He stared at her. She returned his gaze, noticing the patch of red spreading up his neck. She wasn't the only one struggling to contain her temper. At least she'd rattled him as much as he'd annoyed her.
"Miss Klunsberg, are you suggesting I will interfere with your exam results?"
"No, of course not." As if I will put that accusation into words, you old goat. "I just wanted confirmation that I can continue working at this hospital until I qualify."
"As a doctor? I made that commitment to Dr. Green. But you won't be joining the obstetrics department. They have sufficient students at present."
Her nails hurt her palms. If she didn't get experience in obstetrics, how would she qualify, never mind get a job in that department? She waited for him to finish.
"After you qualify, we will review the matter. We don't have any openings in a suitable department at the moment. That may change."
Not for her it wouldn't, but she'd deal with that in time. "Thank you very much for being so direct, Dr. Guild, and for your time. Have a good day." She turned and walked out the door, keeping her shoulders straight as she felt his gaze. Only once the door had closed did she let them slump. Why did it have to be so hard for a woman to become a doctor? Some of her male peers had scored lower than her in every exam, yet they had guaranteed positions once they qualified. "Are you feeling ill, Miss Klunsberg?" Miss Waters asked as Frieda, lost in thought, forgot she was standing in the office. "Not at all, Miss Waters. Just reviewing the excellent career recommendations Dr. Guild suggested. Thank you for your concern, you old bat," she muttered under her breath, but the woman didn't hear her. Chapter 2. Frieda rushed to the closest ladies' room. She didn't want any of her colleagues to see her cry. She was used to struggling to achieve her dreams, but the unfairness of Dr. Guild's attitude was too much. She realized no matter how hard she studied to get the highest grades possible, it would make no difference to her future. Not at this hospital, at least not while Dr. Guild was in charge. Why couldn't more doctors be like Richard Green? She thought having a man of his caliber on her side would be enough. She stared at her reflection. A few drops of water wouldn't cure her red swollen eyes. She couldn't go back on the wards like this. She washed her face, thankful she'd planned for someone else to cover her afternoon shift. She hoped Dr. Guild had asked to see her to deliver the good news in person, that he'd approved her transfer. She wanted Lillian to be the first to know, as she'd gone to so much trouble.